from the left side of things. See, y'all know I got one of my homeboys with me today because he is over here having a good time. But you know me, I'm gonna start off the show with my bad, y'all. I didn't do a whole bunch of homework this week. I was on vacation. Yes, I was on vacation. I went down to Sarasota, down in Long Beach, Longboat Key, and soaked up all the sun and all the Gulf water. And I had a fantastic time, and I've rejuvenated, and I'm back in action, baby. I'm ready to go. But I took some time off and enjoyed the sun and the fun in the sun, and now I'm back. And before I get started, listen, COVID has really changed how we do a lot of things. My youngest nephew, Sean Black, graduated from Warren Central High School today. Unfortunately, it was at 11 o'clock in the morning, and I had just come back from vacation, so I couldn't actually take the time off. But y'all, send some love over to Sean Black. Congratulations. He's heading over to Iowa Western Community College to play basketball in the fall on that scholarship, y'all. On that scholarship, y'all. He's gonna be playing some ball over there. I'm super proud, super proud of my nephew. He is doing his thing. He's found his passion at a young age. I remember at 9 and 10 how we couldn't peel the ball out of his hand, and now he's on his way to play basketball at the next level. So that's just a proud auntie moment. I get to do that. It's my show. I get to do that. And I want to do one other thing before we go. If you guys don't remember, I told you that we are now on Indiana Talks every day, rebroadcasting the show. So, but I want to make sure that you guys know how important the Snide Report is. The Snide Report is that place, that email link that you can go and find out all the news. So check this out. We got breaking news from the Snide Report. Buy a year VIP subscription to the Snide Report for $25. You get the second year free. Now you can buy 1 year VIP subscription to the Snide Report for $25, and we will give you a second year for free. The Snide Report is read from the courthouses across Indiana all the way to the White House and everywhere in between. News doesn't just stop on the weekends, baby. So be in the know before you go all week long. Just click on just hit them up and tell them Indiana's own Dana Black sent you. I'm telling you, you will appreciate it. That's where I get a lot of my news because I can't keep up with everything. It's all in one place. It's all in one place. So hit that up. I want to make sure y'all do that. All right, my rant. Did you see where the state is asking for South Bend School District to repay over $620,000 because an investigation turned up that the Rise Up Academy students were not logging in to their online classes. So now they're asking for the school district to return their money. See, I'm a little confused, and I'm gonna need y'all to help me with something. Last week I put a post up on Facebook and I asked, how is it that the state has been able to get past the Constitution when it specifically states that the state cannot fund religious institutions? And when we give voucher money to parents to give to, how are they able to do that and go to these Christian or religious institutions? And everybody gave me some great answers. And basically the answer that I'm going to go with is that they're essentially laundering money through the parents so they can give it to the schools that they want to give it to. Okay, fine. So they found a way through that, and through the courts, they were able to say, okay, you can give the money to the parent, and then the parent gets to decide how to spend it. So now I'm a little confused. I understand that, the students should be logging in, and their school system should be finding a way to make sure there should be an online truant officer, right? There should be an online truant officer making sure that these students are logging in. I do not dispute or even argue with that fact. I'm not even going to argue with the investigation. What I have concerns about is that the state is now seeking money from the school system. Well, I thought the money was supposed to follow the student. So if the money is supposed to follow the student and they give the money to the parent and the parent decides where it goes, why are you going after the school system? Now, don't get me wrong. Y'all calm down. I am not saying that the states should go after parents. I did not say that. Because I know some of y'all like, what are you saying? Are you saying that this? No, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is there seems to be a double standard in how all this works. There just something doesn't seem right. Either you're giving the money to the parent and they can choose what they want to do, or you're giving the money to the school system and you want to hold them accountable and you want to be able to get that money back. I'm not understanding how we have it both ways. This sounds like a larger discussion that we ought to have, right? This seems, I don't have any answers to this. I don't. But I'm telling you, this is a question that we need to be asking and we need to be digging deeper into it. And we need to find out how this double standard from the state is actually taking root and taking hold. And we got to figure this out. This is serious business because I am certain that the South Bend school system, its online schooling was not the only online school that is it's supposed to be educating Indiana kids that had a problem with kids not logging on. Are they going after those as well? A lot more questions than answers is what I'm seeing. A lot more questions than answers. So, y'all mark that down and we'll get back to that at some point because we've got to figure something out. It's summer session time. You know what I'm saying? Hit our legislators up. Let's find out what's really going on and who is supposed to be in charge of the money. Is it the parent or is it the school that the money goes to? And if it's the school that the money goes to, then we got serious issues with some of our religious institutions, private schooling that is receiving taxpayer dollars and not being held accountable. We got a bigger problem. More questions than answers. All right. Last thing for our Marion County folk, the mayor has said that he is lifting the mask mandate on June the 7th. June the 7th, you will all be free. But look, real talk, please be careful because you know there's some anti-vaxxers out there who don't want to get vaccinated. And even if you've been vaccinated, you know you can still catch it and carry it. So please be careful. Do what you do. It's your body, your choice. That's how I feel about it. That was a set. That was yeah. Never mind. Anyway, so do what you want with your body, but just be careful and know that the mask mandate will be lifted on June the 7th. All right, that's what I got for the day. Now listen. Every now and then you get to hook up with some folks you never thought you were going to meet in your life. I never thought in a million years that this young man and I would connect on such a level as to just chop it up whenever I'm down in Clark County and is a defender and a fighter for all of our constituency caucuses, speaks up for everybody. I'm telling you, he's a fighter for what's right. And you know what? Real talk. And if I can be as honest and bold as to say this, I've watched him grow. I've watched him grow tremendously. He was already in a good space, and he had been doing this a lot longer than me, but I've watched him grow. Y'all give it up for my man who is not only the ninth district chair of our Indiana Democratic Party, but he's also, wait, New Albany. What's what's that county?
Floyd.
Floyd. I knew that. I knew. My brain is it's got a lot of salt water in it. Let it go. Let it go. It's got a lot. He's also the Floyd County chair. Y'all give it up for my man Adam Dickey. Adam, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Dana. I appreciate it. Loving it. Loving it tonight.
Ah man, you are my guy. I don't think people realize how much I rely on you, and we've been talking ever since I joined. You were already a stalwart when I got here, and you have always been receptive and willing to listen and allow me to ask as many questions. Tell the people who you are and where they come from so they can know why I love you.
Sure, sure. Well, if there's a, I guess if you head down 65 all the way down to the state line, you're going to come pretty close to where I'm at. That Jeffersonville, New Albany area, the other side of Louisville, Kentucky, is my home. I live in New Albany. I've grown up in Clark and Floyd counties my whole life, and frankly, so has most of my family. We still have a little homestead there that goes back to the 1800s. So we've been doing the Hoosier thing for a long time and trying to do it right.
Okay.
So, but you know, I grew up here and went to college through the IU system. Um, you know, grew up around leaders like Lee Hamilton. Had the privilege of working for congressmen like Barron Hill and other municipal and civic leaders in our community. And it's really just been a life calling to come out here and do the work. My day job, I do what I call community building in the sense of I represent an engineering firm, and we put good infrastructure projects to work. So I know a fair amount about what goes into building roads and making sure the water continues to go the right way. Uh, but uh, but my passion has always been politics, and in that accord, I just really love working with folks. Serve on a few commissions in New Albany, and just really enjoy the work that we do to try and make our communities a better place.
And that's what's important, because a lot of times we, as people who call ourselves leaders in the party, we can get mired in, the structure of it all. But one of the things that I've always noticed about you is that you don't mind doing the community work. Why are you so comfortable, like, you know what, yes, I'm on the central committee, but let me roll my sleeves up and get out here in these streets?
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons, Dana. And the first I'm going to tell you is a story, and it's not one that I share very often, but I want to share it with your listeners because I think it explains why maybe I tick the way I am in that regard. You know, my dad came back. He was in the Air Force, served over in Vietnam, came home, worked for the Air National Guard, and he was in an accident before I was even born. The summer that I was born, he was in an accident and had some touch and go there for a while, and had to have several surgeries to kind of get him back to normal. There was an explosion in a hangar that left him in a bad place. Throughout that, obviously, working for the government shared a lot of responsibility, but it wasn't always easy for him and for us to get the health care, the services and whatnot that he needed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was folks like Lee Hamilton who came to his aid and held people accountable. And I remember as a little kid, when we would be confronted with a problem where someone in the government wasn't wanting to give dad what he needed, it was folks like Lee who would roll up their sleeves and who would try and make a difference. And then as my dad got better, he returned to doing some of the normal things that he did. And one of those things was serving in the fire department. He
Mm-hmm.
ultimately was a fire chief. And so on a regular basis, I was taught to appreciate that if someone's in harm's way, somebody's been in an accident, their house catches on fire, it's not always convenient for you, but you've got an obligation to serve others in the community. You've got to answer that call. And through those two experiences, I think I've just always naturally decided that we've got to do better for folks. We've got to make sure that each and every one of us rolls up our sleeves and gets out there to make an impact in our community. It's not just a nicety; it's a responsibility. It's a responsibility, and I think that when we all start to think about things in that light, we realize how much of our own potential we can achieve. I think about the pyramids in Egypt. Obviously, we don't know much about their construction. There's not exactly a historical record detailing day by day what happened, but we know that it took a lot of people. Um, we know that there were probably some horrible conditions, and we know that people were able, however those conditions were, to overcome and build something that today has standed the test of time and is a wonder of the world. And I think that that's a testament to the human spirit. And we can be doing the same things, but today we can do them in a way that includes people. We can do them in a way that helps people. We can do them in a way that answers needs and really benefits our communities. And that's what I'm really about. That's what I want to see us do.
And I think
So
that's, yeah, I love that because
the
that,
community service part is so important to me.
well, oh, you hit right on the head. Service. Christine Bohm is now one of my favorite new district
Yep.
chairs up in
Doing a
District
good
Three.
job up there.
Oh my
Yep.
God, she's knocking it out. But I knew she wasn't the first. She's following a playbook that's already been in place, and that's service. I know you and I have talked several times about how our party, we would do well to be in the community, even in the communities that aren't necessarily going to give us 50 plus 1% of the votes, right?
That's
But
right.
but but it's about serving the people. We can talk about what we want to do as Democrats, but sometimes it's just better just to do it.
Yep. That's exactly right. And I think that people get a better appreciation for who you are when they see you in action too. And I think sometimes we forget that those activities, cleaning up the street and picking up the trash that's collected on along the way, going out and trying to help out at the soup kitchen, doing those things that are in need. In Floyd County right now, we're doing a community service project. One of the things that we actually structurally built in our party was a deputy chair for community service. Her whole job is Jill Stock. Shout out to Jill.
Hey, Jill.
Job is to work on community service projects, take things that are happening in the community, bring them to us. And even in the middle of COVID, what we found we were doing was we're helping out. We've got little pantries. Dana, these stations, right?
Mm-hmm.
They a lot of times churches, but other civic groups and whatnot, they'll put them out, and it's basically just a 24-hour box that you can go to if you need a meal. You can go to grab a can of soup. You can get some vegetables there. You can get some basic supplies so that if you're in need, you've got a resource no matter what the time of day it is. So what we've done is we've kind of adopted some of these community boxes, these little pantries, and in the middle of the pandemic, we were helping to supply those and are continuing to do it all year long. That's one of our year-long efforts as a Floyd County party to try and to do that. And I encourage other local parties to do that. It doesn't have to be the little pantry, but doing a tour at Ronald McDonald House,
Yeah.
working a shift to cover the local shelter or something. Any type of activities. Maybe your town is doing a spring cleanup. Get a group, go out. Believe it or not, my mayor actually let me paint the yellow line on the sidewalk stoop there. I'm not sure that was probably the best job that I ever did, but we dressed up town when we do those neighborhood cleanups. So we can do a lot just by helping out in our community, mentoring students. You mentioned your nephew graduating. That's a great accomplishment, and I'm so glad to hear what's coming next there. But we've got students who really struggle in school, and they need the presence of somebody as a stabilizing force in their life to try to help them through that process and get them to the next big hurdle. And what some of our party members and just others do to mentor students is paramount, because if there's anything that I've learned as a parent, I've got an 11-year-old at home, but if there's anything that I've learned, it's I watched some of this virtual school in place the last year. I've watched what these teachers went through, and believe me, they need like battle pay,
Right?
because they are exceptional people and are doing something much more than that's a passion right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I don't have it. I don't have it. Mm-mm. Some,
No, no, I'm with you.
because kids are young people are, when they're that age and younger, they're when they're primary school age, they're rambunctious and they have loads of energy and a dozen questions, and you have to have like the a level of patience to do that every day. Every day I go in. Look, I'm like you, Adam. I go into a school once every couple of months and hang out and have a good time, and then I'm gone. But the real work is that every day and cultivating and molding those minds. And you're right. That's so key and so if all of us take a weekend or a weekday every couple of months, look how many kids we can touch. And it's also kind of hard for members of your constituencies in your communities to not like you when you're helping them.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And so the ninth district is one of those. Man, listen. If y'all don't know, ninth district starts at the top. At the top end is Johnson County, and goes all the way down to the Ohio River, down in Clark County in New Albany.
With a couple of exceptions, we pretty much run the road for 37, Indiana 37 and I-65.
And it's drawn that way. And you have the blue bubble in Bloomington, and then
Yep.
and then just the sea of
Love our
red.
Bloomington people. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
come on now. We all love the Bloomington. We want the state to be kind of Bloomington-ish. Not all the way, because I've learned some things.
Hey, now be careful. Be careful now.
Yeah, I'm being careful. Hey, I'm just putting my toe in and then I'm dipping it out, right? I'm just saying there's a reason why you gotta have balance. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason. But that being said, this district, you guys have a carpetbagger, who has actually probably never really physically lived in the state of Indiana, who represents you in Congress. Talk about the ninth district and how difficult it's going to be to unseat a millionaire carpetbagger.
Yeah, and I think we want to give people a little bit of a background here. So, the ninth district, as it currently is formed, came about after the last, redistricting, and it used to go much more along the river over towards Cincinnati, all the way over halfway toward Evansville, and stopped basically at Monroe County, Bloomington, Brown County, that area. When they redrew it, as you describe it, it starts at Johnson and Morgan counties and runs all the way down to the river. It's a very lean district, and it's a great district. It really is. We've got a lot of good territory. Places like Bloomington, New Albany, Jeffersonville, very vibrant places. Johnson County with Greenwood and Franklin are kind of the outer level there to Indianapolis. We've got a lot of rural territory, places like Jackson County, beautiful places, but much more driven by the local agricultural economy. We've got some wonderful tourism opportunities. Places like Orange County with French Lick and the resort there. Places like Marengo, Indiana, with the cave.
Mm-hmm.
And so, all of these places, kind of form this unique, temperature for our district. But the challenge that we had is we're in two different media markets. People are pulled in different ways. There's no one mecca city to kind of anchor the district. And back in I guess it was 2015, Trey Hollingsworth arrived on the scene, so to speak. He suddenly moved into Jeffersonville, Indiana. Said he was moving there because he wanted to be close to his in-laws over in Louisville, and immediately started running for Congress. And he had to win a primary. There were several individuals that ran that year, including some state senators and others.
That was Shelley Yoder's year.
Yeah, that was a Shelley Yoder year, and unfortunately, he pulled it off. He spent a lot of money. His father formed a special PAC just to help him out. That's another subject maybe for another day. But if we want to talk about, campaign finance reform, certainly the Ninth District in that regard is an example of one of those that's seen the impact of folks being able to create those packs. And
Mm-hmm.
um, they're not supposed to coordinate, but when it's the father of the candidate, I'm not sure how that works.
Hmm.
But
They don't talk to each other.
yeah, no, I guess not. I guess not. But he was able to blow everybody out because he had that money and he won the primary and he came back and we gave him a very contested race that year.
Mm-hmm.
Shelley was an awesome candidate. She raised more money than she had previously raised. We were on the red to blue list and really squared it out. But unfortunately, Trey caught the win that time.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, we've been fighting it out every 2 years. Had some great candidates like Liz Watson. Andy Ruff kind of got a square deal with the pandemic, made it much harder to campaign. But we've had some great candidates, and we're going to keep pushing the issue here. But it's been challenging. It's been challenging. And one of the things that I think is challenging about Trey is, he's in my mind, Trey is one of these congressmen who basically rehearses the talking points from the Republican Party in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really see him that much, except after he's been there. We usually hear that he was, at the school or visited the local chamber or what have you. There's been times where we've been frustrated because even when he was supposed to be doing, more public events, they mysteriously got canceled. I remember one, that got canceled because of security concerns. Now, I take security very seriously, but sometimes I wonder just if that's part of the game,
Mm.
constituents.
Mm.
And so that's something that we try to hold him accountable on. We want to know where he is and what he's doing. What's he got to say? There's lots of times that he's very selective about his comments. Doesn't seem to make remarks. Now, I will give Trey a little credit here and there. He did vote for the January 6th commission, for example. He was
He did
one of
do that.
a select few. Of course, uh, snatching kind of the partisanship back as soon as he did that, he immediately, made a statement against the speaker and claimed that the only reason he did was because he felt like Nancy Pelosi would launch a investigation of her own, and this was a better way. Well, I don't go into politics being that hardened against people. If it's good policy, it's good policy, right, Dana?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I get a little frustrated with Trey because he likes to play the cards a little differently.
And well, but you said something interesting. You said if it's good policy, we'll support it. What policies has he actually introduced?
Well, and that's true. A lot of the measures that we see him introduce seem to be a little bit, flash in the pan, if you will.
Hmm.
He's big on term limits, for example. We'll see if that holds true here. The more he goes, but I think what really bothers me is that what we need to send to Congress are people who are willing to listen to their constituents. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
And not be afraid of them.
yeah, not being afraid of them. I'll give you a good example of this. Barron Hill, my former boss, I worked for Barron for 4 years as a congressional aide, a field representative, and one of our finer gentlemen and legislators, I think.
And he was one of my first Legends guests. I've already had
Yeah,
him on
yeah.
Turn Left, so you can go back and listen to how great he is. Yes.
I'm still getting I'm still getting used to the beard, but I'm trying. I'm trying. But 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 Barron, when he was in office, we were confronted with a real challenge one year. We had a number of local constituents who were talking about their property taxes,
Mm-hmm.
and it was no concern. Now, property taxes is a state issue, not a federal issue. But people were coming up to us and asking for anything, any type of relief that we could provide them because of how the system was at the time and a little out of whack. And Barron, sat down with us as a staff and said, hey, we need to figure something out here. We've got too many people that are clearly hurting. We need to try and do something that can help. And we got to work. And from the comments and stuff that those constituents made, we actually found that, we could put forward, a federal exemption
Mm-hmm.
help folks with their property taxes. And so that was a piece of legislation that Barron co-sponsored. There were some others, I think, up in New York that joined him. And again, collectively, what was a very local issue um, was passed into law ultimately because we heard our constituents and we went to work and we found a way to try and help. Now, it wasn't the end all be all. The solutions that needed to come still needed to come from the state level. But I think that illustrates how we can play a part, how we can play a role at all levels in making things better for our community.
And
And
because that's what your job is. You're supposed to represent the
yeah,
community.
that's exactly right. And so with Trey, we see too often that he's supporting, the I don't know if you remember the Trump tax cuts.
Yes. He. Oh, are you? We could. He couldn't wait to sign on for that one. Are you kidding me?
Well, yeah, when it benefits you to the tune of $4.5 million, I bet you'd sign off
He
on
could.
that
He
too.
couldn't wait.
He was one of the ones who received the biggest, personal benefit from that legislation, according to independent reports. So, so these are things that look, we've got an obligation to hold him accountable on these things, and we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to work uh, for ways to illustrate how he's out of touch with this district. There are times where I think he's probably a little bit more informed now that he's been a congressman for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But times where I don't know that he knows what people in non-bone really face every day.
Not if you're not coming back. How could you possibly know if you're not
Yeah,
here to talk to people?
yeah, that's right. I mean, and in non-bone, that's in Brown County. That's heavily based on recreation. Folks there have different challenges than they have in a New Albany or Indianapolis or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
wherever else you're from. And we've got to make sure that we're doing a good job to answer all of those.
Absolutely. I mean, I think they all should take a page from my congressman, Congressman Carson. He comes home, and you can find him pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So,
Andre is one of the most approachable congressmen
yeah,
that I've interacted with in my time. And you know, sure, you can call him up, but here's the deal: you don't have to be a district chair in the state of Indiana. You don't have to be a luminary like Dana Black. You can be a regular Joe,
you just
on
anybody.
and to be quite honest, I bet you Andre's probably going to give Joe more credit than he give me and you.
Right, and here's the thing. Like, one of the things I remembered about one of the biggest things that blew me away about the congressman, Ashley Gervis and I were putting together our very first Power of the Black Vote as when I had just became deputy chair of the party, and I wanted to get in the community and do this thing, and Ashley helped me put this thing together, and he showed up. Like, he didn't announce he was coming. He didn't, put it on his. He was him and his daughter, and they just came and they sat and they stayed the whole time. That's somebody that's like, this is my community. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna sit in the seats. I'm gonna sit in the cheap seats, and I'm just gonna. I don't need any attention, but I want to hear what my people are talking about. That's the kind of thing that makes you say, my congressman is great. He didn't have some impactful speech that day. He was just there.
He was
It's,
there to listen.
you mentioned redistricting earlier, and redistricting is coming up, right? So District 9 may not look like what it looks like now.
That's
And
right.
I know that and when that redistricting happens, it's gonna be late in the game, and there are going to be a lot of folks who are looking to challenge missing in action Trey, right? They're gonna be looking to challenge him. Um, let's talk about some of the things as people are possibly considering running for Congress. What they should be considering. You're the district chair. They need, first of all, you need to go talk to him. If you haven't talked to your district chair about running for Congress, sit down. Okay, and then full stop. So let's talk to the people about what they need to consider as they think about taking on missing in action.
Well, the first thing that I always tell a prospective candidate is I want to make sure they know what they're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
Running for any office, and particularly running for a congressional office, is not, it's not a hobby type of commitment. This is not something you can do the first Saturday of the month and then go to to handle other things the rest of the month and come back to next month. You've got to have a commitment to reach out, to visit each of those counties. You've got to have a commitment to raise the funds to be competitive. That's a big job right there. You're going to have some disadvantages. Trey is the incumbent. He's going to have access to influential people. He's going to have access to money. He's going to have the benefit of staff, and you're probably going to start out your campaign with very little of all of those.
Right.
And so you've got to understand first and foremost, what you're asking, because as I say to all candidates, if you don't want it more than I want it for you, there's a problem.
Okay. Come on.
Yeah, we can't have that. You've got to show the and set the example for everyone else on your team, for everyone else in the party, and you've got to keep those spirits up. And and luckily, I think we've had some great candidates who've done that. We mentioned Shelley and Liz earlier, but I think both of them are examples of candidates that, regardless of the odds they were facing, they always inspired folks.
And just to speak to that, I mean, look where they are now. Like
Right.
we are saying Shelley Yoder because I think because we have a close personal relationship, but we shouldn't be disrespectful and say Senator Yoder. She is
That's
now.
right. That's right.
We're all cool, but it's like that's Senator Yoder. She is in our state house, and Liz Watson is now in the Biden administration.
That's right.
She's got an ear to the president of the United States. So these are the quality candidates, and I might add two amazing women. These are the quality candidates that you're talking about. It's required, right? To you have to have that level of commitment.
Yep. I think that's absolutely right. I think that the next thing that they have to understand is just they're going to have to confront changes.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the maps, and that's a potential big change, and we don't know what that's going to look like. But
We have no say in what it's going to look like.
no, no. But here's the thing: they can't sit and wait. I've told this to several who we're talking to about running this cycle. They can't wait. You've got to get out there and start building. There's things that maybe you can defer because you want to see what that final map looks like. But at the end of the day, you've got to be building the organization, the infrastructure to support your candidacy. Because what I will tell you does not work well is if a person jumps in and they try and make a run in say February of next year, when quite frankly they're trying to ride the bike and build it at the same time.
Right.
That's really challenging. That's really challenging. And so we need to take advantage of the time that we have right now this year to do the important building to get them prepared and to get them ready. And so that's what we do. That's one of the things that we do. And we do that, Dana, I make note, kind of as a side run here. We make that commitment to all of our folks, including our party leaders and our candidates. One of the things that we set up over the last several years in our district, we have a ninth district deputy chair for education and training, Miss Isa Goodman. She does a great job. I'm really
Who's
been
your
proud.
women forward lady? A graduate. Who's your women forward? You know I gotta
That's right.
shout
Who's
that
your
out.
women forward graduate? She's doing a great job for us right now, though. One of the things that she's put together is a June training series, and you know what we're aiming to do is to help those people who are new officers, party officers. We're providing some diversity, equity, inclusion training.
Which,
Uh,
by the way, I gotta stop. Which, by the
mhm.
way, when this program, when the party was introducing this program, you were the absolute first district chair to embrace this training and reintroduce it around your district. I need y'all to understand that because
Yeah.
there's always some reluctance from a lot of people for a lot of things that are new and different and trying to change and understand. You did not hesitate. I want people to understand the importance of that when I talk about why I love you. That was huge because you didn't have to. You didn't have to.
Well, as you know, Dana, I was on the working group that then Chairman Zodi had to try and set that up, and I think it's important. We as a party have to display our values.
Yes.
If we're not living up to our values, then we're falling short on our commitment to our party members and to our community in a larger sense. And I think that by showing that we're going to challenge ourselves to ensure that our processes are better, to ensure that we're doing all we can to be open and inclusive. There are times where, look, you know, I don't have the experiences that everyone else has had. And I need to be able to sometimes see those shortcomings. And I know I have those shortcomings. I'm sure there's probably been a
We
time
all do.
you've said, dang, Adam, I got to educate you on this, bro. And, I've needed it. I've needed the good smack for not understanding something. But one of the things that's important about that diversity, equity, inclusion training is it's trying to work on that. And the session that she's got first up on June the 7th is one that we've set up so that it works. It's called Primary Prevention 101. And the whole idea behind this program, this training session, it's a virtual training. Go to our Facebook page, go to well, I don't think my team has got the website editions all fussed
Well,
out.
but you know what? They can click on the link to your district party website, and I'm sure certain the events will
Yep.
eventually pop up there. It's right there in this live feed, so click on it
Yep.
and
So
donate
so
too.
they
By the
can
way,
look at it. But we're going to set this up to try and forestall bad situations from happening. There are social injustices out there in the world, and what we want to do is try to make things a little bit better, a little bit even, and anticipate things going into things. And so I'm really excited for that course. That's our first course out of the box. We follow that up with a training that's geared toward the role of chairs and vice chairs. We want to get, and this is the important part. We want to get the folks who are in those positions now, but also invite people who are activists. Because, Dana, as you know, it's important that the chairs understand what their job is and brainstorm about ways that we can do better. But it's also important that people on the outside, the folks who are the lay party
mm-hmm.
members, understand what the job of the chair is. I often tell people, there are so many things you don't see. There are some people who think the role of the chair is to stand up at the conference or to stand up at the dinner and to give a nice speech or to run the event, and their job's done, right? But the reality is, it's like an iceberg. 90% of the work is done outside of that 1% in front of the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's important that we look and we talk about what are the duties. You know, what limits do you have? What challenges are you having as a new party chair, or a returning party chair, that maybe you haven't been able to figure out, but you've got a group here of others who can have a conversation about that, maybe brainstorm.
Yeah, and you know what? You would also, again, it helps people to want to be involved if they know what it takes or what's
That's right.
required. Then people can make good decisions. One of the things that we the state party just did their precinct committee training, which
Excellent training.
I encouraged
Excellent training.
I encouraged everyone to take it. It was on a Thursday right after my show. And I encouraged them to
Convenient.
right, and it was and we were asking you to do these things, but we're also saying this is what is expected. We don't want you to be like deer in the headlights. And we know that there have been some times where people have been like, I don't even know what this is and what I'm supposed to do, but I'm here. And we're trying to change that as well.
Yep. And I think there's another piece of that too. I want to articulate, because I think this is something that sometimes gets lost. We can do certain things our own way. Adam Dickey as a party chair is not the same as Annette Craycraft as a
Mm-hmm.
party chair, and that's okay. We need those differences sometimes, and I think that by allowing folks to kind of build from the structure, if you will, their own way, we create opportunities. One of the things people always ask me, they say, are you just that nuts that one wasn't enough? You had to go off and take on the district too. But the one thing I love about being both a local county chair and the district chair is there's times where I can try things out to see if they'll work, do a test run in Floyd County. And then when I take that to the district, I can say, guys, I made this work in Floyd County. We can make this work in Crawford. We can make this work in Lawrence. We can make this work in Johnson, in Monroe, in Clark, in all the other counties of my district. We can try this, and we can figure out good ways to kind of test things together. And it also lets them know, as the chairs, hey, this guy's not just somebody who popped on the scene and got elected district chair. He's been in the trenches, on the battle line, leading the proverbial troops, if you will, taking the fire. So he knows what I'm facing. He knows the dilemmas that I've got, the stress I've got. And I think it helps. I think it really does help people to have that and have that understanding.
Well, it helped me. I know that it helped me when I was, again, I'm just, I'm energetic. I'm too old to be an emerging leader. Hoosier Women Forward wasn't there yet. And I had to
Yeah,
just.
I'm going to stop you for a second. I know that the emerging leader has a program age, but I want everyone to hear this at home too. You are never too old to be an emerging leader.
No, no,
You
no.
program, but you are never too old to be an emerging leader, because some of our best volunteers have been people who have come to us as recently retired individuals that thought they were going to basically go home and
Sit down.
watch TV, do whatever with the grandkids, and they've decided they're going to get active.
Mm-hmm.
And they learn so much. They after a year they're leading canvas efforts. They know how to use the van. For those, I guess everybody, I shouldn't just assume everybody at home knows what I'm talking about. That's our voter activation network database. They know how to build community events. These are all skills, right? And you're never too old to be an emerging
Well,
leader.
and that was the point that I was making. Even though I was too old to be in the program emerging leader, I was an emerging leader. But it was helpful to be able to talk to someone like yourself and the Joel Millers of the world who had like this vast experience and coming from different angles. And I could sit down and y'all would just let me rap with y'all for hours, and let me soak up, like a sponge. I was just soaking it up and processing it in my own Indiana's own way. Right, but and that's, it's so important, and I think that I wanted to highlight that and stop that for just a minute, because if you can't reach out to your district chair, or you can't reach out to your county party chair and have an honest, frank conversation, and I spoke about you, and of course, again, I'm in District 7, so I got Andrea Scott, like.
All stars.
You know what I'm saying? I get to have her over for fish. You know what I'm saying? So I'm lucky. I get to have all these great people in my space. But the thing of it is like our district and county chairs have to be receptive. They have to be willing to listen. And that is so key because you do not want to discourage people from being involved by your absence. You may not have said anything negatively, you may not have done anything negative, but just not being there will turn them off as well. And I think that is really, really key. And this is not to disparage any county chair or any district chair because you're all volunteers. And
That's right.
I appreciate that you're giving of your time freely to serve our community. But part of the job that you said that you wanted to do because you ran for it and you were elected is to be present. I think that's so important, and thank you for bringing that up.
Well, and it kind of goes to something that I said as an early priority. When I first got elected as district chair, I took over for Wayne Vance. Wayne had been Lee Hamilton's right hand man for a number of years. And I decided that it was important for us as district leaders to be present and show up in the district. And even though it means that maybe on a Friday night or a Saturday night I'm having to drive to Scottsburg or Bloomington when I might have otherwise hung out with the family or whatever, I bring them along sometimes.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be there, we've got to show up for those events.
Yeah.
Not just the party events. We've got to show up when they've got something going on sometimes.
Oh my goodness. I have been to, groove theory events here in Marion County or something that is I've gone to Black Chamber of Commerce events. Things that don't even have they're not necessarily partisan, they're not necessarily about the Democratic Party, but just showing up as a representative of the party in a community that has always felt underrepresented, man, that's key. And when I say underrepresented, in our rural communities, okay, where the diversity isn't that deep, they're still underrepresented if we as Democrats don't go talk to them.
That's right. That's right.
We gotta put in the effort. So you guys are always doing community work and community activities. What's coming up on the calendar? I know y'all got something coming up soon. I know you talked about Kaiser's event.
Yeah, we've got let me say a couple things here because we got a lot going on here in June. We've got the training activity that Kaiser's organizing. We've also got a torchbearer event. I've got a great deputy chair for finance, Peter Iverson. He is doing a good job. He's helped us out all year to build up our torchbearer program. And this program is our sustaining fund. We have to have, unfortunately, it takes money to make sure the party works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things just unfortunately cost money. And so we ask folks to make a modest donation. Give me $10 a month. That's basic. I can't get lunch most places anymore for $10, right?
No.
So $10 a month, $120 a year. If you can give more, give more. But
click on the link. Click on the link. Click on the link.
Yep, click on the link. It's all that's online. Look at the contribute section. We talk more about it. But as part of this, then we give back to those torchbearers. They're helping to support the party all year. We're going to help them. And we've got what's called a torchbearer reception on the 9th. Coming up. Now, is that next Wednesday? I think
It is.
And we're going to have Chairman Small come down, so to speak, virtually. And this is an opportunity for them to hear some of the things that he's introducing, some of the things that we're doing as a state committee, and just interact. Again, we want to make sure that he can hear from the rank and file, that we can hear from him. We're lucky in that currently 2 of our deputy chairs at the state level, are from the 9th District. Of course, Nicole Bolden, great city clerk of Bloomington, who is
I might know her.
You might know her. But she's beginning her work as the city and towns deputy. And then we've got Kent Yeager in Harrison County as our state deputy for agricultural rural affairs. And so we're very blessed in that regard. But I want them to hear from Mike about how these new positions are going to function. How is this going to help those counties that maybe are struggling? How's it going to help some of our counties that are doing well do better? You know, I'm lucky. I got a great mayor here in New Albany, right, Dana? But Jeff Gahan needs to know, you know, how can we do better? Treva Hodges in Charlestown doing a great job as a new mayor in that community.
Isn't she
But
amazing? Doesn't
you
she
know,
just like blow you
how
away?
can we do better? How
Yeah.
can we do better? How can we help Treva? You know, maybe with a few more Democratic voices on the city council. You know, that
Yeah.
those are things that we need to work and build for.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great we got
Yeah.
the mayor's office there, but she needs help too. So so those are just some of the things. And then also, you know, I would add, you know, the big thing that I'm involved with right now is we are starting to prepare for IDEA, our
Okay.
August conference in French Lick. Chairman Small has asked me to play a unique role as the SCC member, kind of running point with the staff to bring that event around.
Okay.
A little bit of a preview to folks here. We are trying this is going to be a year where we look to do a little bit of a refresh. So
Right.
you look for some new events. We're going to build in some more content pieces to the conference. We're going to try and make sure that the social activity is still there. Of course, there's still going to be some of the fundraising activities, the recreation activities that have come to be party and parcel with IDA. But I want to challenge folks. You know, IDA is a great time to come down, to refresh yourself, to reconnect with folks, and more importantly, to also gain some new ideas. You
I
know,
love it.
we're going to kind of frame this, I think, around big ideas. You know, we used to have Big Dim Weekend. Well, we're going to have Big Idea Weekend here. So these are some of the things that we're working and building on there. You know, State Party will have more to talk about there. That event later, Chairman Small will have more to talk about. But we're really excited about what we're doing there. And of course, as part of that, the Ninth District hosts the Saturday dinner, the Lee H. Hamilton dinner. And we're going to honor, as we've done in the past, one of our um, significant Democrats in the district. You know, so we want to welcome people to come to that, hear from those persons, and really enjoy a good weekend where we're building the party.
I love it. And I ain't gonna lie. Um, IDEA is a party with a purpose.
That's right. That's right.
We get you know what, it's not just about conferences and we get to bond, connect, and build relationships. And if we
That's
can't build
right.
relationships amongst ourselves, how are we going to build relationships in the community? And so this is just a great way. I love IDEA. I ain't gonna lie, I'll be there this year having a good time. I won't be golfing, but I'll be doing all that other stuff because it's always a good time, and I love it. And so, you know, Adam, tell the people what you're gonna need over the next 6 to 8 months. Nothing long term, but just how people can be involved right now because we need help, right?
That's right. Well, and I'm glad you asked that question because I think a lot of people think about, you know, coming out to do political work when it's campaign season, you know, what I call high tide, if you will, of the campaign year, August, September, before the election. I need people then, but I also need people right now. You know, in Floyd County, we're talking about doing some, you know, neighborhood door to door.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we call it, oh,
It happens to me all
forget,
the time, man.
we're running out of time. Well,
No, no, no,
Larry,
no. I was gonna say that brain thing. It happens.
it brings it. I died. I
You
know.
have so much
Uh,
in there. You got to flip through that file a little bit.
yeah, but it's a neighbor to neighbor canvas. We're just going out in the community to kind of see what's on people's minds. What problems are you seeing that you're concerned about? Maybe in this neighborhood, you know, addiction and drug problems are something that we need to address. Over in this neighborhood, maybe it's the infrastructure. Maybe there's sidewalks need to be redone. We want to know what's going on. And so, you know, there's opportunities like that. We've got some messaging tours that are going on. And in our district, we're going to have several stops in June to talk about the American Rescue Plan
Love
and
it.
why that is such an important plan. We've got communities who are starting to put that money to work. In New Albany, my home community, we just awarded some money from that program to go to help with basic needs, those who are maybe struggling to provide food, um, home, shelter, those who are struggling with addiction. We provided some early money to try and work with organizations, partner with organizations that provide those services in the community. And so we're going to continue to do that and build that up. But we want people to know how this is impacting. So coming out to those messaging events, and hearing and sharing the message amongst themselves. We've got opportunities for people. Dana, I know you like to write.
A
You
little
know,
bit.
you want to know one of the most impactful ways that we can impact the community with very little involved? Write a letter to the editor.
Hmm.
Say how supportive you personally are of what the president's doing, of what your local mayor is doing. Those little notes, they have an impact in the paper, and we want to make sure that we're doing that.
Absolutely.
We've got other groups who are working on events. We've got, we're all coming out from COVID, right? And so people are wanting to get together. Maybe you're somebody who knows a lot of businesses. I always need people who can help us expand our fundraising database, right? Peter loves those people who know business owners because he's all about finding out how Adam and Peter can work into a new contact and get them to support the ninth district. So these are things that we want to continue to do. Um, I'll give another shout out too, because I think one of the things that, I mentioned some of my team, and I want to mention these other team members real quick because they are such good team members. But, Linda Lawson is my new ninth district vice chair, and is working hard on a couple of projects. She's coordinating a Live and Good grant application. We're going to be asking for an intern, paid intern, to help. So all those breaking news type of stuff. We've done the program several years, but for all those wondering, ninth district going to have another intern program. If you're a college student, listening at home, we're going to have that again this year. So we're going to give you an opportunity to get to work. We've got some task force groups. We're the district committee just approved some councils, and so we've asked a few people. I know Jen Crosley in Monroe County is
Come
going to
on
be
now.
involved with this, but we've asked some people to help as we start these councils or task groups. One's going to be on education because we feel like education is such a critical issue, not just for the election, but for our communities again. And so we're going to put some folks together. If you're someone who's interested in that type of policy stuff, hey, drop me a line. Let me know, and we'll put you to work. Um, Kathy Stoltz, our district secretary, Melanie Douglas, our deputy chair for administration, they're working on revising some of our stuff like our mission statement. So, again, maybe you're not someone who is comfortable always going door to door and stuff, but there's other roles that you can play. There's other things that you can do. One of the things that we also appointed was a new outreach and candidate service deputy chair, and that's Jessica Hamilton. And she's going to be getting to work in terms of connecting up and providing these services to candidates, but also connecting up and growing our organization, making sure we're doing the outreach in every county that we can. The problem with mentioning people, Dana, is that you're going to forget.
You're gonna forget somebody, but it's out of it's out of love. You're trying to what I'm hearing because you were running down everything. You know how
Yep.
we always say it takes a village to raise a child, and
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
the reason why we frame it that way is because a child doesn't know anything yet. And if you're new to the politics of things, we're not saying that you're childlike in your mindset. You just don't know anything yet. And what you do know is limited. And what you're saying is that there's a village ready in the ninth district to give you the knowledge and help bring you up and be whatever it is that you want to be in this thing. Because the bottom line, all the things that we're talking about, the goal, the ultimate goal, is to get good policy. And the only
That's
way you're
right.
going to get good policy is if you're right, you are electing good candidates who will write good policy. And in order for
That's
us to
right.
get good candidates elected, we have to work these streets. This is a chain, baby. This it starts here, and the whole goal is to make sure that we're improving lives, and that's what our party is about. We're about improving lives, and the ninth district has just ran down. Adam, see y'all see you see why I love him. You see why I love him? You're going to learn something when you talk to him. And that's what we need. We need people who have been around, seen the ebbs and flows, understands the ups and downs, have gone this way and then had to take a slight detour and come back. All of those things so that we can all grow together. That's what we need. That's leadership. That's what makes me happy. So, Adam, yo, yes, but we are kind of out of time.
Well, let me do one more thing here.
Okay.
I want to just, for the record, mention my other two, some of my other folks. Benita Pate is our district treasurer. She's doing a great job. I like to say her job is to challenge me and tell me no a few times.
Okay.
Make sure that I don't just go out there and spend all the money, right? And I want to also thank Sarah Stivers, our deputy chair for
Oh,
special.
yes.
She does a fantastic job. That we modified this position this year. She was in outreach. She's gone to special projects. She's actually working on a podcast for our district. That's going to be her next project. Is to bring a podcast online. So Dana, you and Sarah may need to you may I may
I
need
actually have a better idea. You
oh,
have a
here
you
we
have
go.
a young man who I admire tremendously right there in the ninth district in Miguel Hampton, who could put you a
Yeah,
podcast together. That's
yeah,
in fact,
that's right.
I see Miguel
That's
is
right.
on and he shared. Miguel, drop that information about the event next week in the chat so people can know what's going down. But you don't even need me. And when you know better, you do better. I know
That's
Miguel
right.
Hampton is better. So if you guys
Miguel
want
does
to,
an excellent job.
oh my God, so he's your guy for the ninth district's podcast. I'm telling you, I'm learning from him.
Well, and we've got two new positions that we're also going to create that I haven't appointed yet. I'm talking to some people, but we're going to have a deputy here for communications because God knows I need help making sure that the communication goes out the door. And we need a deputy chair for constituency caucus services. We're going to try and we've got a great pool at the local level, at the regional level, at the district level, at the state level with our constituency caucuses. We want to make sure that we're tightening up the line so that we don't miss anything between us. I've always felt it's a priority for us to go and be present with the college Democrats, be present with the Latino Democrats, IDAC, these different great bodies that do such a service, our Stonewall Democrats, and so look for good things to come as we bring on these new positions. And if you're someone out there who's interested, look, I may be talking to people, but no names on the line yet. So reach out to me and we'll have
Yeah.
a conversation, see if this is a good fit for you.
And if you're a young person and you're looking to assume a leadership role, learn to be a leader first. Take on one of these roles and let these seasoned veterans guide you in how to be a leader. This is a great opportunity for someone who has designs on growing within a party or any type of organizational structure for that matter.
That's
This is
right.
a great way for you to get some leadership experience, make some decisions, make some mistakes, learn from them, make some amazing decisions and watch them grow. This is an opportunity to this He's offering opportunities for people to be in leadership roles within the ninth district party. Do y'all hear what he's saying? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Indiana's own Dana Black talking to my man in the ninth district, Adam Dickey, the chair. Sir, thank you so much for joining us on Turn Left. Again, you and I can go another 2 hours, easy. But we're not gonna do that to the listeners. I tell you what.
You're gonna have to have me back.
Yeah, that's
You're
what I'm saying.
gonna have
See,
me back,
we're on the same wavelength. I was like, I would just have to have you back, especially after the maps are drawn, so that we can, maybe I bring a couple of district chairs in so we can talk and strategize about, what we're going to do, because I know the state party is working on some great things with this listening tour, and they're also doing the Biden is Great tour. I can't think of the name of it, so that's what I called it, the Biden is Great tour. But that's happening. So y'all, if you want to get involved, this is how you do it. There's opportunities for everybody to contribute, because the bottom line is we got to write better policies. We can't have what's happening in India, what continues to happen in Indiana. You see what's happening in Texas and Georgia. They're trying to strip our rights to vote, all that kind of stuff. They want to talk about, taking a choice away from a woman to do what she needs to do with her body just all this stuff. So we got to make sure that we have policymakers that are in place. And the only way we're going to do that, only way we can convince people to vote for us is to tell them who we are, what we stand for, and how we want to help them. All right, and the 9th District is doing that. So thank you very much, Adam. All right, real quick, program note, there will not be a show next Thursday. I know my ego is big and I'm relatively arrogant. I'm okay with that, but I am not going up against the DNC chair, Jamie Harrison, at the Indiana Democratic Party's Hoosier Hospitality Dinner. I feel like I'm that, but I ain't all that. I'm going to sit down next week, and we're going to listen in. So if you have not purchased your online ticket for the Hoosier Hospitality Dinner that the Indiana State Democratic Party is hosting next Thursday at 6 o'clock, please go to the indems.org website so that you can get your ticket and tune in to our DNC chair out of South Carolina. He almost got it. Man, he had little Lindsay running scared. Ooh, little Lindsay was scared. He was on TV begging and everything. He's the new DNC chair. So come and meet Jamie Harrison. Tune in next Thursday so you can listen to him. That's where I will be. No turn left. All right, and I cannot. There's no way that I could possibly close out the first show in June without saying Happy Pride. Come on now. Y'all know I was going to bring in the rainbow. Come on now. Listen, y'all. There's a lot of discussion going on with Indy Pride and law enforcement and all of that. Just remember one thing, while y'all having these lively debates, understand we are a community that is just as diverse as any other community on the planet. And we're all going to have differing views on whether or not law enforcement should or should not be there. I understand the arguments on both sides. As a person who understands that it was a woman, that was trans women of color who were throwing rocks at police for the harassment, I understand why you don't want them there. But I also understand that we have some really good law enforcement officers who are members of the LGBTQ plus community. So the best thing to do is everybody sit down, calm down, chill out, have a conversation on how we can, yes, keep everybody safe, but keep everybody safe. See what I did there? Did you see what I did there? Because not everybody feels comfortable with uniformed law enforcement there, and some don't. So let's find a way to have a good conversation in the community about how we address that. And maybe it's time, because if it's bringing up this kind of conversation, we need to dig deeper and start asking the right questions. But it's Happy Pride. I am the happiest, loudest lesbian in Indiana Democratic politics. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Please know I'm out and proud. Like Harvey Milk said, come out. Come out. Be you. Do what you do. And don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Don't let anybody bully you. And if they bullying you, let me know. I'll come and holler at them for you. Yes, I will. I ain't scared. So everybody, get your rainbow love on. To all of our allies who stands with us, who helped us get gay marriage, to help us change policies so that we don't get kicked out of our apartments when we come out. Thank you. Happy Pride Month. Get your parade on. Get your party on. Just be safe. All right? Okay, Indiana's on the Black No Show next week. Sign up for the Snob Report. Y'all gonna love it. I'll holler at y'all next week.